Okay, we're doing Intelligentsia Cup. Fulton Street the last day. Here I could not clip in for some reason. Somebody made a Cat 5 joke to me. Kind of pissed me off, but I mean, it was true. I did terrible right there. So, this is Fulton Street, the last day in the series. The roads were terrible on Fulton Street, under construction, so they had to change up the course, bring it down an extra street, and then even when they brought it down an extra street, you're going to see the roads were also terribly beat up. People are already taking crazy lines first lap here. You can see into that corner, and then you can see on the left-hand side here, this is where all the destroyed road was on the left-hand side. And I identified that, and I said, okay, well, it means down this back stretch, it's gonna be somewhat tight, and then basically if I could send it up that left-hand side, which no one wanted to do, in the last lap or two, that means it's a good spot to move up. And then the last feature is this chicane, and people would gun it out of the chicane down the finishing stretch. So here you can see my strategy was essentially to tail gun a little bit here, conserve some energy. It was pretty decent course to do it, pan flat, big field, but people were going pretty nuts this first couple laps. So you want to still be up there. Again, when it's going really fast here, you can see I'm going to tuck a little bit and get arrow. That's on that finishing stretch. But when you come into the this corner here with a little bit more speed and don't have to brake as much by tail gunning, you can save a decent amount of energy, and this was a decent enough course to do it with. So again, the main feature here was that back stretch. I really identified that as being the spot where I could send it. Now here, when it balloons out, you can see attacks are going to send. It's also going to happen later, but everything stayed together. So people, even lap 7, you can see here, were taking this left-hand side for some reason. And there was really no reason to do that unless you got kind of off your line, and you can see it's causing mayhem already. So if you get caught on the left-hand side somehow, that was really bad. Here you can see tail gunning, pretty efficient, less brakes. Yeah, you got to gun it out of the chicane, as you can see here, but it always came back together. So I felt like this whole race was really under my control. I wasn't out of my limit, basically, by tail gunning here. It always came back together. People were, again, taking crazy lines through here. You can see there's curbs on the right-hand side there, so it was a wild race in terms of what people were trying to do. Like here you can see people on the left-hand side still down that terrible road. But again, the plan here was tail gunning. So here you can see tail gunning works sometimes when guys aren't taking all sorts of crazy lines, like you can see there. But also, if you can move up a little bit, it makes some of these corners a little bit easier if you just move up for free, right? Like I just did there. Now here you can see again it balloons out, slows up. My teammate Joaquin there, he's moving up on the left-hand side. So there were some decent times where I could have moved up if I was a little bit further. But again, tail gunning here. I could take this finishing stretch really fast, but I was tucking, not putting much energy down, and then eventually catching back up to the group into this corner, and then hitting less brakes because I still had some gaps between me and the guy ahead of us, and then I could continue my momentum and my power out of that corner. So here you can see, again, it strings out a little bit sometimes on this backside because people still wanted to hit it, but I wasn't getting too crazy and anxious. So here you can see Claudio, he lets a little bit of a gap open, but again, there's no reason to be crazy and try to fill that myself. I know he's strong enough to finish that out, and I know that we're going to catch them back up in the next hand corner. So today was all about efficiencies in this race. And now we're at 2 laps to go. So all of that gets thrown out the window now. I take the left-hand side, like I said, sort of the YOLO line, and look at how many positions I just moved up and continue to move up on the left-hand side. Risky, yes, but with 2 laps to go, it's sort of like the best spot to move up. But unfortunately here, somebody opens up this gap, just absolutely gets dropped out of the chicane, and now I'm way too far back. You can see I can't move up enough to win this sprint. So basically at this point, I kind of sit up as soon as I realize that I'm not going to contend this field sprint, and so I basically let the race go from there, and I just sit up and let it go. So thanks again for watching this Intelligentsia Cup series. Stay tuned for more cyclocross racing. That season is coming up. There's going to be a lot more videos there. But thanks again for hanging with me during these Intelligentsia Cup series videos. I really appreciate it. Thanks again for subscribing, and have a good one.